Please be seated. Good morning, distinguished guests, honored dignitaries, respected teachers, and dear friends. At this auspicious moment, we request our esteemed dignitaries to kindly grace this event and light the traditional lamp, symbolizing the dispelling of darkness and triumph of knowledge over ignorance. Ma'ams, sirs, please grace our event. Thank you. Thank you. Begins with words of welcome that set the tone for the occasion. It is now my privilege to invite Seema ma'am to deliver the welcome address and extend a warm greeting to all present here today.
Respected Chief Patron, Honorable Justice Thiru V. Bharatidasan, former Judge, High Court of Madras, Thiru S. George Alexander, Secretary, Government Law Department, Thiru E. Om Prakash, Senior Advocate, High Court of Madras, respected patrons, Professor Dr. Gavri Ramesh Ma'am, Registrar, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Professor Dr. V. Balaji, Dean, Academics and Research, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, distinguished panelist, Dr. Saslin Binti Kamarudin, Senior Lecturer, Law, Faculty of Management and Economics, University of Pendidikan Sultan Idris, Malaysia, Mr. Senthil Kumar, CEO, Professional Consulting USA, Professor Dr. S. Yerumalai, Head in Charge of Human Rights, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Mr. Rakesh, Information Security at CDAC, Ministry of Information and Technology, Professor Dr. R. Keshavamurthy, Professor and Assistant Dean, VIT, School of Law, our beloved conveners, Dr. M. Sunil Gladson, Director, BCA LLB Honors Degree Program, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Dr. R. Deepalakshmi, Head in Charge, Department of Computer Application, Director, Data Processing Center, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, the program coordinators, Dr. G. A. Pettunachiyar Ma'am, Dr. A. Anita Ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications, and my dear faculty members, student coordinators, and my dear students. A very good morning to everyone. It's my privilege to warmly welcome you all to the International Symposium on Data Protection in the Surveillance Era, Role of the Data Privacy Day Protection Act in Protecting Personal Data, organized in commemoration of Data Privacy Day 2026 by the Data Processing Center, Department of Computer Applications, and the Artificial Intelligence and Computing Society AICS of Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. In today's digital world, data has become the new currency and protecting personal data has emerged as a critical concern. As rightly said, privacy is not an option, it is a fundamental right. The Digital Personal Data Protection Act represents a significant step in safeguarding individual privacy while ensuring a responsible use of technology. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar reminded us, the Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document, it is a vehicle of life. In the same spirit, data protection laws must protect the dignity and freedom of every individual in the digital era. We are honored by the presence of our distinguished guests and experts whose insights will surely enrich today's deliberation. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for those warm and inspiring words of welcome. Your words have truly set a wonderful tone for today's events.
To set a serene and auspicious beginning for today's International Symposium, we now present the invocation dance. Rooted in devotion, rhythm, and expression, this Bharatanatyam dance is a humble offering that invokes wisdom, harmony, and positive energy. I now invite you all to witness and enjoy this performance.
தக்கேட்டது நீத கிட்ட வசத்தம் தக்கோ அணித அணித Vadanamate Irisane Vadanamate Irisane Vadanamate Irisane Madhuragadam Vadana Murali Manu Rudane Madana Kadana Pudu Ramana Virana 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 Ravedajum Tajanota Pericata the Gadatangu the Gadarigata the Gadatalangu Redredo Hippo Tilana Ditilana Ditilana Lana Ditilana Ditilana Maratani Gavada Magatani Gavasa Magatani Kakapa Sanita Magari Tadarani Nadredum Nadredum Redilana Nadredum Tadarani Nadredum Nadredum Redilana Nadredum Nadredum Tananado Nadredum Tananato
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Shrija from first year BLLB department. Thank you, Shrija, for the soulful and elegant performance. May I now request the respected dignitaries to kindly take the seats.
Sorry for those inconvenience. Zapin is a traditional, fast-paced Malay folk dance popular in Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, and Brunei. Originally introduced by Arab traders and missionaries in the 14th century, it blends Arab influence with Malay culture. The Zapin dance strongly symbolizes happiness, joy, and gratitude in daily life within the Malay culture of Indonesia, Malaysia, and surrounding areas. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite our very own talented Soilites to perform this sacred dance.
Dentum hoy, tingkah rebana, beralun-alun berduhoi, irama lagu, bergerak-gerak bunyi hoi, kaki melangkah, berpasang-pasang tali hoi, geraknya tadi, menari-menarilah, harian Melayu, menari-menarilah, jangan rasa malu. Menari-menarilah, sejujur hatimu. Menari-menarilah, tanpa rasa cemburu.
Thank you, guys. That was a splendid performance.
May I now request the respected dignitaries to kindly occupy their seats on the dais. Thank you, dignitaries, for gracing the stage with your presence. We now move on to the felicitation ceremony of the International Symposium. May I now request Dr. R. Deepalakshmi Ma'am to felicitate Professor R. Gauri Ramesh Ma'am with a memento and a shawl. Sorry. May I now request Dr. Gauri Ramesh Ma'am to felicitate Dr. Saslina Kamarudin Ma'am with a shawl and a memento. Thank you, Ma'am. May I now request Dr. R. Deepalakshmi Ma'am to felicitate Register Professor Dr. Gauri Ramesh Ma'am with a shawl and a memento. May I now request Dr. R. Deepalakshmi Ma'am to felicitate Rakesh Sir with a shawl and a memento. May I now request Bhuvaneshwari Ma'am to felicitate Keshavamurthy Sir with a shawl and a memento. I now request Dr. G. A. Pettunachiyar Ma'am and Anita Ma'am to present Professor S. Elumalai Sir with a shawl and a memento. Thank you, Ma'am. May I now request Ranjit Sir and Seema Ma'am to felicitate Register Ma'am, Professor Dr. Gauri Ramesh. May I now request Professor Dr. Gauri Ramesh Ma'am and Pettunachia Ma'am to felicitate Dean Sir, Academic and Research, Professor Dr. V. Balaji. Thank you. We also extend a special and a warm felicitation to Mr. Sendil Kumar Sir, CEO of Professional Consulting INC USA, who's here joining us online despite the geographical distance. Thank you, sir. Over to you, Zayed.
Thank you, dignitaries. Please be seated. Right now, I invite Shrija and the Malaysian dance students to be felicitated by our honorable dignitaries. Every significant event is built upon a meaningful theme that guides our purpose and unites our vision. I now invite Dr. M. Sunil Glassen sir, Director of the BCA LLB Honors Program, to address today's gathering about the theme Data Protection in the Surveillance Era, Role of Dpdp Act in Protecting Personal Data. Please, sir.
Most respected Registrar Madam, and our Dean Sir, and our Chief Guest, Professor Saslina Ma'am, and Mr. Rakesh, our own alumni, and now he is also a professor in VIT, Dr. Keshavamurthy Sir, and
to BC Technical Committee, Dr. Madam, the head of the International Law Department, all of the professors, input and my dear students. Local the team organizers and present based protection as surveillance the role of Dpdp Act protecting the personal data. We are now living under surveillance. The moment we open our door, the camera located or fixed in the opposite house completely take our picture. That is visual cancel or visual cancel. Wherever we are standing, you are sitting, the cameras are taking the picture. Where is privacy? And you all now, particularly Indians, are omitting all our personal information to business entity and also to all the institutions. It actually become a photo. Now, gradually this
act got a new dimension. They started.
this is a hard reality. Privacy is in a question. So, this cannot easily search what is privacy because we are completely vast. At this juncture, we are going to discuss about the role of Dpdp Act and whether it really ensures, whether it really protects our personal. It's a very question. I think for first year students and third year students, what is data? It's very simple. You know, any information, your image, photo, video, music files, whatever may be. And this data may be a commercial data for business entity. Sensitive data, secret or confidential data, official data or sensitive data. The personal data and the personally sensitive data. Forms. And what is important?
As a rapid development in ICT, information and communication technology, the software engineers, they introduced internet superhighway. And through this internet superhighway, millions and trillions of informations are flooding, and most of the informations are personal information. Why? Because now we are living in the digital era driven by artificial intelligence, and now we are enjoying all the comfortness and the convenience without physical movement. We are getting projects, we are getting all kinds of services, so that now we are under trouble. Why? Because in order to purchase a product, you have to enter into an I agree contract. That means we are entering into a contract known as click wrap contract. So now the industries cleverly introduced a new system. What is a system? They will invite you and they will, show all the, the new products in their website or in the web pages, which will always invite you. And once you enter into their domain, it will ask your name. Okay, your name is okay, wonderful. And your age, and your cell phone, then your, email ID. And then they started giving optional. What is the optional, the format? You can give the name of your wife or your father, mother. And now, instead of they are asking the phone number of the wife or the husband, they started give alternative number. So many of you are, we have a single cell phone and we need to give a number of our, the family members or others and their mail ID. See that all the informations they used to get. And now, if you enter your name, the page will open and a next button will come. And you should click the next button. Then another information. Like that, we used to surrender all our informations for business entities for a particular sale of goods. Why we should give all this information to the business entity? Why we should give? See that suppose if we go to purchase a jewel in the jewelry shop, now they used to introduce a form. We have to fill it. We have to write our mobile number. We have to write our mail ID. For what purpose? We need a gold, that's all. But we are ready to give everything. So we are omitting our personal data to business entities. Day before yesterday, Supreme Court of India surprisingly and very strongly gave a blow on the forehead of Meta industry for WhatsApp service. Why? Because in the WhatsApp new privacy policy, they introduced some conditions. Once you surrender or submit your documents, they have every right to transfer or share it to other industries. See that? Whether Data Protection Act, this Dpdp Act permits WhatsApp industry to share to other industries without the consent of you, the principal. See that, each and everyone has your own personal information and you are the owner. You are the owner. You have every right to control the informations. And without your consent, they cannot transfer it. See that, we are giving our personal data. Likewise, now data river is flowing like anything and particularly stored in data lake or data warehouses. From data lake to data warehouses, again, this data is flowing to some other domains, finally to the data sea or data ocean. Why? Because now the world is ruled by, the world is governed by, the world is driven by only the data. See that just a 4-letter now rules the world. Gradually, this data become a private property. Data become a, the property of an industry. For example, now the the Dpdp Act, which fails to address this particular issue very elaborately and, strongly. Why? Because once we surrender our data, the personal data, either to the industries, for example, the hospitals, now they are collecting the data, storing it in their computer or in their computer system or in the computer network that is in the cloud. And once they arranged, organized all this information as data, now these are the very, very important, aspect is this data become private property of this organization. These are the private property. These are the confidential information. These are the trade secrets. Why? Because, without this information, the hospitals cannot move. The hospitals cannot run their business. The business entities, they cannot run their business. So that now our information becomes a private property of another business entity. This is the stark reality. Now, who is the owner? According to copyright law, the person who maintains the data is the owner. But the subject matter is our own personal information. This is the reality nowadays. And as cyberspace has no territory, no geographical barrier, no governmental intervention, whatever information that you post, it will immediately start its travel. See that? it travel has no boundary. It is infinitive. Suppose after it cross the, the borders, stored in some storage devices or in the cloud, you cannot simply erase it. So whenever you post your photo, or now the problem is the young people in India particular, they are posting everything. Everything means everything. Second one, see that after seeing a movie, there is some, the hero will come like me, like, good coat and gown, the good attire or the dress. What about the heroine? I cannot stay in the stage like that, covering their anatomy by two piece of handkerchief. Okay, leave it. But now the problem is our kids are wearing similar kind of dresses and taking video and posted it. See that the moment you post this kind of video, it will start its journey. You cannot stop it later. And there are a lot of softwares which will categorize each and every information posted and locate in some dangerous places. That is why it is called as a destructive and most dangerous technology this ICT is concerned. Particularly in respect of the personal or the privacy or the personal data. That's why once you submit or the surrender your personal data for purchasing a goods or getting a service, please careful. Unnecessarily, without, see that, without anything, without reading the condition thoroughly, you don't submit. Second one, another technology is also used by the business entities like browse wrap agreement or shrink wrap agreement. The moment you click the hyperlink, it means you entered into an agreement. Likewise, a lot of new systems are coming and how the informations are flooding because of the hackers intervention, because of intrusion into the domain of the institutions or the industries, and causing interruption and interception. All our data are stored and the data are harvested and the data are mined. So where is our personal, where is our privacy? It is a, it is a great question. And all our panel members, they are going to address various issues based on the theme of the symposium. So I express my gratitude and thanks to the organizers and the authorities and also to all my students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We are privileged to have with us a visionary leader whose insight will add a great value to this symposium. May I now request Professor Dr. V. Balaji, Dean Academician and Research, to deliver the special address.
Thank you. Good morning. Now, before I begin this, the special address, let me give a glimpse of what we are actually undergoing and why it is so significant today, the day. So if I recall what I had, I came across a WhatsApp, a joke which was there 5 years ago. And you can see that what is now the situation is. A man calls a local pizza to place an order online. And he calls like, hello, I'd like to order a large cheese with pizza. From the pizza, they say that, welcome to Google Pizza. Before I take your order, may I have your user ID, social security number, and GPS location to confirm your identity? The caller says that, why, what the hell you want? I just ordered only pizza. The online, it says that, I see that you haven't taken your cholesterol medication. According to our pharmacy app, I'm going to recommend the whole wheat low fat veggie pizza instead that what you have ordered. This fellow says that, no, I don't want veg pizza. I want only the cheese, the pizza. the online says that, sir, our data shows that your wife is on diet. So ordering the cheese pizza will cause a fight, similar to the one what you had last Tuesday. Plus, your credit card is also declined. Shall I charge it in your crypto wallet or just deduct it from your future salary? The guy got frustrated and he says that I don't want to live in this country. I want to move away from this country. Where that online says that, I understand, sir, but you have to renew your passport first because it expired 6 weeks ago. So, dear friends, this is what the situation is right now, that what it is happening right now. So everything, as what our Sunil Gladson sir has rightly said, the data is a new currency now. The data is a new currency. So honorable dignitaries on and off the dais, my learned colleagues, and the student participants, it is indeed a privilege to address the gathering on a subject that lies a very heart of contemporary governance, constitutionalism, and individual liberty, the data protection in the surveillance era, the role of Dpdp, the act in protecting the personal data. As I said, that we are living in the era where the data has become the new currency of power. Every digital interaction, whether it is on a phone call, an online transaction, biometric authentication, location tracking, or social media activity, leaves behind a data trail. Surveillance today is no longer limited to physical observation, and it has been transformed into algorithmic, automated, and invisible monitoring carried out through the artificial intelligence, big data analytics, facial recognition systems, predictive policing tools, and digital identity frameworks. While such surveillance mechanisms are often justified in the name of national security, public order, and efficient governance, they simultaneously pose a very serious threat to individual autonomy, informational self-determination, and the right to privacy. Our constitution gives the right to privacy, where the legal foundation for data protection in India was firmly laid once again in a historical judgment of the Supreme Court in Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India, which unequivocally recognized the right of privacy as a fundamental right under Article 21 of our Constitution. The court made it very clear that the privacy includes informational privacy. Any intrusion by the state must satisfy legality, necessity, and proportionality, and the state has a positive obligation to protect the personal data of its citizens. The Constitution also mandates, which made it very imperative for India to enact a comprehensive data protection framework. As it was so, where it has emerged, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, which is India's first comprehensive legislation aimed at regulating the processing of digital personal data, balancing innovation with individual rights, and establishing accountability in both state and private data processing. The key aspects of the things will be discussed by the experts. I don't want to go into that. But however, the Dpdp Act and the state surveillance, when we see in a critical view, while the Act is a significant step towards the role in the surveillance era, requires a careful scrutiny. The Act provides broad exemptions to the state, particularly in the matter of national security, public order, and prevention of offences. These exemptions, if not exercised with strict overrides, which will have a risk, the normalizing mass surveillance, diluting the proportionality principle, and weakening the judicial and parliamentary accountability. Therefore, the real test of the Dpdp Act lies not merely in its text, but in transparent rulemaking, independent oversight mechanism, and robust judicial review. The way forward is to ensure meaningful data protection in a surveillance-driven society. The following steps are very much essential, where the clear limitations on state surveillance power should be emphasized. Stronger institutional independence of the Data Protection Board is a must. Mandatory impact assessments for surveillance technologies, greater public awareness of the data rights, and continuous alignment with constitutional values. The data protection must not become a symbolic safeguard, but a substantive guarantee of dignity and liberty. So the DPDP Act marks an important milestone of India's digital journey, but it is not the final destination. In a surveillance era, the true measure of democracy lies in how effectively it protects the individual against excessive intrusion, even while pursuing legitimate state objectives. As legal scholars, the policy makers, practitioners, and the law students, it is our collective responsibility to ensure that technology serves the citizens and not the other way around. With these words, I once again thank the organizers for providing me this opportunity and wish the symposium a fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this thoughtful insights that has indeed given us a deeper perspective on the role of data in today's interconnected world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached one of the most significant moments of today's program. It is with great honor and privilege that I invite our esteemed Professor Dr. Gauri Ramesh Ma'am, Registrar TNDALU, to address this august gathering and share their valuable insights in their presidential address. Thank you, ma'am.
Most esteemed chief guest for today, Dr. Saslina Binti Kamruddin, senior faculty from University of Malaysia. Mr. Sendil Kumar, the CEO of Professional Consulting USA, who's yet to come, will be joining us shortly. Respected Mr. Rakesh, CISSP Information Security, Ministry of Information and Technology, Professor R. Keshav Murthy, our own alumni and now Professor of Vitsal. Beloved Dean, sir. Beloved Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, ma'am. Beloved Dr. Sunil Gladson, sir, Professor Yerumalai, and Dr. Deepa Lakshmi, ma'am. Dr. Ranjit, sir, Dr. Arita, ma'am. Seema, ma'am, Anita, ma'am, Petunachar, ma'am, Professor Vasanta Kumar, and all the other eminent lecturers here. And my dear students, a very good morning to one and all present here. It is indeed a profound honor to preside over this international symposium on DPDP Act commemorating the Data Privacy Day 2026. Our institution, established by the government of Tamil Nadu in 1997, has always stood as a beacon of legal excellence and social justice. As we gather here at the Perungudi campus, we continue our legacy of fostering rigorous academic inquiry and professional development. As a registrar of this university, I take pride in our institution's role as a pioneer in legal education. Through our School of Excellence in Law, we have consistently bridged the gap between traditional legal theory and modern professional practice. And on behalf of our esteemed, prestigious institution, I once again welcome all the esteemed dignitaries and my heartfelt gratitude to all of them for accepting our kind invite and gracing the occasion. Thank you once again, all of you. Dear students, we live in an era where technology evolves faster than the statutes designed to govern it. While the digital age has democratized information, it has also birthed novel forms of gendered harm that our current legal frameworks are struggling to categorize and penalize. Increasingly, women report harrowing experiences of non consensual digital touching and image based sexual abuse. These are not merely virtual incidents, they are profound violations of bodily autonomy and human dignity. To address these gaps, we must be willing to evolve our terminology. Current laws often trivialize digital violence because they lack the language to describe its embodied nature. It is in this context that we propose and examine the concept of outraging the modesty of any person in online space. This term is not just a linguistic shift, it is a legal necessity. It captures the intense, traumatizing nature of sexual violence in virtual or digital spaces, ensuring that these crimes are no longer inadequately addressed or dismissed as secondary to physical harm. The Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, through its School of Excellence in Law, remains committed to being at the forefront of such transformative legal discourse. By hosting international dialogues like this symposium, we ensure that our students, the future architects of the judiciary, are equipped with the sophisticated tools required to navigate the complexities of the 21st century jurisprudence. The DPDP Act is India's first data protection act, and it establishes a framework for the processing of personal data in India. And at a time where technology has become the defining paradigm of the 21st century, India's ongoing data protection regulation underscores the nation's focus on building a strong data privacy regime. And the release of DPDP rules on 13th November 2025 marks a pivotal moment in this journey. Building strong privacy governance programs is not only the reputational and business risk requirement, but is also an integral part of building a transparent and long-term sustainable organization of the future. As already mentioned by Professor Sunil Gladson in his speech, in a major development on February 3rd, just a day before yesterday, the Supreme Court bench, head by Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Suryakant, issued a severe warning to Meta platforms, nothing but our WhatsApp, regarding their 2021 privacy policy, stating that the company cannot compromise the privacy of Indian citizens. Nevertheless, the DPDP Act is a significant step forward for data protection in India. This act is a step towards showcasing India's dedication to fostering a secure and trustworthy environment for both its citizens and businesses. Dear students, one small bit of advice. Dear students at the back, yes, thank you. See, all along, all of them were talking about the problems, the issues regarding this data privacy. See, only till our personal data is kept as private, you are protected. Once the second your personal data becomes public, the cover is blown, your protection is gone. How many of y'all in this particular crowd, has not been scammed even once? Tell me. How many of y'all in this crowd has not been abused online, has not feared the violences through this data privacy? Dear students, please have in mind this particular mobile phone which we have must be used in a very productive manner. Otherwise, it will destroy our future. So with this little bit of advice, I extend my deepest gratitude to our international speakers and the organizing committee headed by Dr. Sunil Gladson and Dr. Deepa Lakshmi, with Dr. Seema, Anita, and Petunachiyar, and Dr. Yermalai for bringing these critical issues to the forefront through this wonderful symposium. And let this symposium be the catalyst for legislative reforms that protects every citizen in both the physical and the meta realms. May our deliberations today lead to a more just and empathetic legal future. Thank you for the opportunity given, and God bless you all.
Thank you for those inspiring and thought-provoking words, ma'am. I'm sure your vision and guidance will surely motivate all of us as we move forward. I now request Professor Dr. V. Balaji sir, Dean of TNDALU, to felicitate the Malaysian dance students. Students, please arrive on the stage.
To the stage, ma, student coordinators and faculties for a group photo. Quick. I request the faculties to come for a group photo. Ranjit sir, Vasant sir, Lucky ma'am, please join us for the group photo. Lucky ma'am. Bhagavi ma'am, please. Please join us for group photo, ma'am. Any other faculties, if I left the name, please come join us for the group photo. Brinda ma'am, if I left out any other names, please.
Gratitude is the memory of heart. To formally conclude today's inauguration of the International Symposium, I request Dr. R. Deepalakshmi, HOD, Department of Computer Application, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Veda. A very good morning. Respected dignitaries on the dais, esteemed panelists, dear colleagues, and my dear students. This is not the ending vote of thanks. This is just a formal vote of thanks. After this, we will be having a panel discussion. So I'm here to present a formal vote of thanks for the International Symposium on Data Protection in the Surveillance Era, Role of Dpdp Act in Processing Personal Data commemorating Data Privacy Day 2026. First and foremost, we express our deepest gratitude to our convener committee, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chief Patrons, Honorable Thiru Justice Bharatidasan Sir, Thiru George Alexander, Law Secretary, and Advocate Thiru Om Prakash Sir. Our heartfelt thanks for the constant support and belief in interdisciplinary initiative like this. Your encouragement empowers departments to move beyond silos and create platforms where law and technology meaningfully converge. Next, I thank our patron, our Registrar of the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Professor Dr. Gauri Ramesh ma'am, for our unwavering support for all the academic events. To the information of the panelists who are present here, Madam is the first ever women registrar in the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University. I should say because of our motivation and confidence, we can conduct this type of symposium in a grand manner. Every success story has an unseen strength behind it. For this event, for this international symposium, that strength was our unwavering, selfless, and truly the backbone of everything we celebrate today. Thank you very much, Madam, for your gracious presence. Next, I thank our Dean, Academics and Research, Professor Dr. V. Balaji, Sir, for his unyielding commitment of all our thoughts. Thank you, Sir, for your guidance. We wish whose presence and encouragement have added great value and credibility to the symposium. When thought becomes action, possibly it is through our only Dean, Dr. Balaji, Sir. Thank you, Sir, for your valuable presence. We sincerely thank our distinguished panelists. First, I would like to thank Dr. Saslina Binti Kamaruddin, Senior Lecturer, Law Faculty of Management, UPSI University, Selangor, Malaysia. Madam has readily accepted through just a single WhatsApp call. Though she has other academic assignment, I thank you, Madam, for coming prior to make this symposium a truly international. She has a remarkable profile in techno law. I think she will set a right tone for today's symposium. Next, I thank Mr. Sendil Kumar, CEO of Professional Consulting, USA. Sir, from day one, maybe a week ago, constantly in touch regarding the audience, content delivery. So, sir will be discussing the practical issues of privacy prevailing in IT sector. Next, I thank Mr. Rakesh, CISSP, Information Security at CDAC, Ministry of Information and Technology. We'll be talking about the database protection. So thanks for your presence, sir. I believe your insights will definitely embark the meaning of this international symposium. A special thanks to Professor Dr. Keshava Murthy, Professor and Assistant Dean, VIT Sol, sir, is the right person to speak about Dpdp Act. His wide knowledge in data protection laws will definitely clarify numerous doubts from students' point of view. A very big thanks to our own faculty, Professor Ermalai sir, Head Department of Human Rights for sir has agreed to give the concluding remarks for the panel discussion. So thank you, sir. You are truly a vision. You are truly a vision for all our academic aspects. I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Sunil Gladson, sir, Director, BCLLB Honors, for making this symposium a meaningful one. I thank my Department of Computer Application staffs, Mrs. Seema ma'am, Dr. Pettunachiyar ma'am, and Dr. Anita ma'am for jointly organizing the symposium with dedication and teamwork. My special thanks goes to the directors, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari ma'am, Dr. Arita ma'am, Dr. Brinda ma'am, Bhagavati ma'am, Dr. Sunil sir, and my foremost thanks goes to our academic advisor, Professor Ranjit Oman Abraham sir, Thank you very much for all the faculties who are present here and made this day a memorable one. I thank the technical coordinator, Mr. Jay Darwin, for assisting us. Thank you, Darwin. I also thank Uday Kumar for supporting us. My warmest thanks to our student executives. Your enthusiasm, discipline, and sense of responsibility truly stood out. You are owning this event. Definitely, you will be the living proof and belief that the future of legal tech leadership is in the safe hands. Special thanks to Radhe and Veda for their sleepless nights. I also thank the Bharatanatyam dancer Shrija and Malaysian dance performance of Solites for their tireless efforts and has given a visual treat to every one of us. I believe your interaction will give life to the symposium. A discussion on data privacy is meaningful only when the minds come together with curiosity and concern. And today, that has truly happened. Finally, I thank each and every participant, researcher, and attendee for your active presence. I also thank the security, Hudaimani, Nasser, and electrician Kribakaran for their true support. With this, I conclude my vote of thanks, hoping that today's deliberation inspire us to be more responsible with data, more ethical and technology, and more conscious of the rights we are interested to protect. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you for your words of gratitude, Mom. Thank you, everyone. We now proceed with the panel discussion. And at this juncture, we hand over the mic to the host of the panel discussion, Tugini and Kavan. This is Veda and Zayed signing off.
Request the students to be seated. So our first panelist will be from USA. Almost it has been 12:15 to him. So after that, I request Samruddin Madam to continue. Thank you. Yes.
I will request the guests on stage to take the seat. Good day to one and all present here. It is my privilege to introduce our first panelist. Mr. Senil Kumar Sir is the Chief Executive Officer of Professional Consulting Incorporation USA, an IT consulting firm known for delivering secure and scalable technology solutions. With extensive experience in IT consulting and data-driven systems, he brings valuable insights into the role of institutional media in strengthening data security practices. We are honored to have him join us online today to share his expert perspective on the efficacy of institutional media in promoting data security. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hope you are able to see my visuals as well. Are you able to? Okay. Hope you were able to see me. Can you hear me? Good morning, respected
Sir. Can you able to hear me?
I can hear you. How about?
Yeah. First of all, very sorry. I think so. It is late night, 12:30 for you.
That's fine.
Yeah, yes, sir. You can start with your presentation, sir. The students are waiting.
Are you able to see my presentation?
Yeah. It's very well seen, sir. You can start.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Okay. So a small introduction about have you told? Okay. Yes, sir. Have you seen our inaugural session, sir?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Now the stage is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So, good morning, respected faculty members, distinguished guests, and dear participants. First of all, I apologize. I am not able to be there in person. And also like to thank you, the faculty members and distinguished guests, dear participants. Let me start with the previous speakers. They talked about we are living a digital age. I second that. We are living in a digital age where data is everywhere. It's been floating and it's been around us. In today's digital era, the data has been one of the most valuable assets for organization across industry. It could be a mom and pop shop, or it could be a big organization, corporate, and it could be a government entities. The data is very vital information. So those data help them to do their day-to-day activities, daily operations, and it helps them to make big strategic decision. It provides them say efficiency, and it makes them to get the innovations. And this importance of data is growing day by day. It is very humongous. Everyone knows about it. That being said, with the data growth, we are also facing the dependence of digital data has introduced a significant amount of security challenges. We have a lot of data security issues also get into our line of path. So cyber threat is day-to-day activities nowadays. You know, it's an incident. It's not an isolated technical incident. It's impacting the companies. It is impacting their trust and their way of doing business. It is affecting their business profitability, ROI, and it is also affects the reputation from the clients. If something happens, so the reputation from the client also being degraded, and it is affecting the companies. So this is a very effective and important topic. So we'd like to talk about today efficacy of institutional media in promoting data security. That being said, let's get started. Let's talk about our agenda. We have 4 different categories to cover today. Let's talk about understanding the institutional mechanism for data security, how the data security is affecting us in day-to-day life, and how we can implement the data security policies and procedures in our company or in government entities. The next, we talk about the evaluation of data security effectiveness. What is the merits? How effective it is? How we can evaluate those effectiveness? Finally, we will talk about the challenges and opportunities in institutional data security. Understanding of institutional mechanism for data security. What are institutional mechanism? These are a set of rules and set of processes institution uses or follows to protect the data. The protecting data is very important, right? So it's a set of rules and set of processes, set of structured framework, which is implemented by the organization to protect the data. how to protect the data. Data has three different categories where they can define to protect the data. Those are, the first category is coming under governance and policy. So the governance provides set of direction, how we can implement the policies. So the policies starts from the rules and how you define the rules, how do you identify the risk, how do you mitigate the risk. All these policies been written and then we implement those. The next we talk about the technical tools will help us on resolving these data issues. And the infrastructure. We'll talk about the technical tools in detail in the next few slides. And the infrastructure, the system, the server, the communication between one server to another, the data flowing from one server to another, one system to another system, one device to another device, how it has been handled, how we effectively we can implement to protect the data. The third and final category is organizational and human factors. How the human factors is helping to protect the data. Human, it's us, the people, how the people can contribute to the society, contribute to us to protect the data. Similarly, the same as organization also can help us to find and protect the data. On the side, you do see the best cybersecurity tools available at this moment, and it has a different category. I have a different slide to go through them, so I just want to highlight here. Next, we will talk about the types of organization. We just talked about the policies. Now we talk about the types. Which organization involved in data security? This most of us already know. The government agency is one of the big data users. They regulate the rules. They enforce the regulation. They oversee the compliance. They do set national security standard for the data protection. So the government agencies, one of the big agencies, they do involve in say, data security policies, data security tools they use to incorporate and implement these opportunities. The very next organization would be the international standard bodies. We would have heard about, everyone should heard about the International Organization of Standardization, which is called ISO. ISO is one of the data organization which provides the standard, which provides the set of rules, global framework, and best practices to use. They define the quality, they define the set of best practices for data security. There is another institute called NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Those also provide the international standards to help the data security. I would like to also add here, there is something called HIPAA, HIPPA. This is HIPAA is being Healthcare Industry Protection Data Act. This is mainly used in United States. So that is also one of these standards being utilized and being taken care of. The next one is the private sector entities, the corporates. Those people also help to set up the securities. The private sector entities implement the security policies. They develop technologies. They manage organization data protection. They do use the technical tools to enhance the products. Finally, we talk about this organization called Industry Consortium. The Industry Consortium is a group of industry folks. They come up with a set of rules or set of the solutions. They do share the threat intelligence so that they help among themselves and identify the issue and mitigate the issue, and also come with some security solution. The another one is cyber security firms. You know, there are quite a few cyber security firms available, and they do day to day develop the new and latest technologies. They come up with the new tools to incorporate all the risk involved in it. One of such things, the antivirus, anti-malware tools. They keep update based on the current threat, and they update the software and then they release it. They are also part of these organization involved in data security. So we talked about the policies, we talked about the technology tools, we talked about the human interaction. With the human interaction, I'll cover it a little bit further more into it when we talk about the corporate functionalities, when we do the implementation, how we do the implementation. So the next slide, going to talk about implementation of data security policies and procedures. Here, we are going to see how we are going to developing the policies and how we are going to enforce those security policies, and also going to talk about the employee training, how the employee training going to help to prevent the data um, failures, and also awareness program, creating an awareness program and incident response and management protocols. That's why we're going to talk about it. So, as I mentioned, the developing and enforcing the security policy. Let's start with policy development. It's nothing but creating the rules. How we create the rules? We create the policies. We develop the policies. So, who involved it? Any of the organization will identify this policy development. They'll help developing these rules. What are those? That's one of them is the identify the risk and regulatory requirements. Mainly the government come up with a lot of regulatory requirements and industry requirements. They follow the set of regulatory requirements for fulfilling the set of rules. Then we will talk about define the scope. Who is going to take care of this particular enforcement? What is their role? What are their responsibility? How they're going to mitigate this issue? And the next one is we talk about the data access. How the data can be accessed. What are the protection? What are the different way of protecting the data? How we are going to restrict the users? What kind of authentication? What kind of access we are going to provide? Those will be provided in the development phases. But we talked about it. Who is a stakeholder? Who will be using all this stuff? Who is going to use this policy? Who is going to approve this policy? So that's where the next one is the stakeholders. The stakeholders could be your IT department. The stakeholders could be your legal department or HR or the compliance department. So these guys will be approving or publishing this policy. This is part of the creating the rule. So we create the rules and then we enforce the rule. The next portion we talk about is enforcing the rule. Yeah, we defined it, we created it. We know we have to set of access rules. What kind of access rule we can do? How do we access it? How do you implement it? So that's where the enforcement is. So it is going to provide me how to enter, how to access the data. So basically, it is going to say multiple factory authentication. So we all every day we are started using the MFA. So I will cover it in my next slide more about it. And then each and every activity is being logged. We store the activities. Why we are logging the activities? So that we can revisit it if something happens, some violation happened. If we detect the violation and we try to resolve it. So that is called monitoring the logs and detect the violation and mitigate the results. And then next one is conduct periodic access reviews. Review frequently how we implemented the policy, whether the policy is current or it's old enough. We had to change the current policy and then update the policy and revise it. So you had to methodically you have to keep on changing your policy and update it and enforce it. And what if someone is not following your policy? We have to take some disciplinary action, right, for non-compliance. So that's also part of this applying the rule. So we have to force to follow this policy. If they are not following, we have to make sure we are taking some disciplinary actions. And then finally, investigate the incidents and update the controls. Next, the technical tools and infrastructure. So there are 5 different topics I want to cover it here. One is IAM. So if you are using the AWS cloud, you know what is I'm talking about. It is identity and access management. It is very crucial on cybersecurity framework. You have to identify who is logging in, who is accessing it, and what they are trying to access. That's what identity access management. Encryption has lots of different variation. Let's talk about here, just to set up the different types of encryption. It could be setting up the encryption on a database level, or it could be setting up the in the network level. You can set up in different levels of encryption. So one of the previous speaker, they talked about the social security. So the US, social security is the main number, which is very, very important. So when you store those kind of information in a database, instead of storing actual number, you encrypt and then store it. Similarly, if you want to access the some data, if they're flowing from one system to another system through network, you make sure that the encryption is taking care of it. Encryption is nothing but you do convert the normal text to the ciphertext. That's where we are going to enforce it. And then endpoint application security. We will talk more about in the EDR next slide. And the network security also very, very important. When you talk about one system to another or one server to another, we talk about the firewall. Firewall is one of the important network services we use it. And then IPS, the intrusion prevention system, that is also being used to between server discussion. So that protects the vast amount of non-malicious threats, and it helps us to fixing the problems. And monitoring and logging system, we have covered a little bit on the logging, how we log the data and how. So we also monitor the threat. There will be administrator watch through how the flow networking is going on, any activity outside of the network is going on. So you'll identify and immediately report to the administrator and also follow the notification. This is a cyber tool. I would like to highlight at least a couple of cyber tools before we move into the next one. The Wireshark is one of the cyber tool. It is a free and open source network protocol cyber tool. What it does is it's finding out the network traffic, the live network traffic, and if there is a slow in network traffic, it informs the person and also try to resolve the slow traffic, why it is happening. And it's also maintains the if any dropped packets and analyze the security threats and any other problem happens with the networking, these Wireshark will help to identify it. And similarly, you see other related cybersecurity tools available in the market, security tools, SIEM, and also the Microsoft has their own security tool called Microsoft Sentinel. Splunk, you would have heard about the Splunk tool. So it's used in Unix as well. So there are quite a few other things. So EDR is another tool. Is to for the networking purpose. You can find how the flow is going in between the two different networking systems. The CrowdStrike is one of the biggest security company in the US. They do develop the tools for them. And quite a few other tools. I'm not going to go through all the tools. And the one of the another important things is governance and risk compliances. Oops, sorry. So the governance risk and compliances, GRC. So those also very, very important tools. You can go through them later. Next, we will discuss, we talked about the developing the rules and enforcing the rules, right? We will see some examples, some use cases where this has been very applicable in day-to-day activity. For example, let's start with the government. So the government is one of the important entity or important agency where they use these developing these policies as well as enforcing it. They enforce the policies as well as implement it. Why they are doing it? To enhance the cybersecurity against the phishing and fraud. Someone and the speaker, they already talked about the fraudulent things happening. I want to highlight one of the best thing, Indian government come up with domain protection for banking industry. They brought up very good the domain for the all licensed registered financial companies, the banks. They will have um, their domain name, their website name ends with bank.in. It's a restricted and secured authenticated domain for financial entities. How it helps? That helps to minimize the number of frauds and the phishing against the email phishing or any sites of phishing. It is reducing the alert and improve the improved unfraudulent activities on this. The complaints monitoring is one of them in the government. And government, there is another one also. It's available. If the government needs to uh, distinguish their website only within this certain boundary, let's assume Indian government wants to show their website accessible only to the Indian people, not to the outside the world, other than Indian country. They can do that too. They can define that, and then they can access it. Let's talk about the corporate enforcement. Corporate has their own type of enforcement. One of the important thing is access control. They want to access the system first and authenticate the system. We talked about multiple authentication, and when you access it, the login and password, as you know, everyone actually we do every day-to-day activities. But the authentication, they add additional level of authentication. There are quite a few good companies. The Google and Microsoft has an authenticator. So what is that authenticator does is it produces a code, 6-digit code every minute, and then it update the code on this to the system. So you add that system, you add this number, and then it will authenticate and allow you to enter. Encryption of data is another, the corporate enforcement. We talked about it. Network security tools, we talked about it. Monitoring tools, we talked about it. So is these and everything part of the corporate involvement and implement the procedure to make sure your data is secure. Out of this, I want to highlight two of the corporate highlights here. So the one is called SSL. What is SSL? Secured layer. The like HTTP protocol. This is another layer where you can protect your data with application level. So we talked about, there is a different level of protection. You can have it in corporate level. If your application, you want to protect data, you want to implement it, you can use SSL. There are some companies like Wolf SSL. They provide set of algorithms. So that algorithm protects you. And when you communicate from the whole application, how do you access it? Who access it? Those kind of activities can be taken care of. Then I also like to talk about a little bit cyber security tools. There are quite a few cyber security tools available. I covered in previously like firewall, antivirus, vulnerability scanners. So those will take care of all this stuff. And employee training is part of the corporate activities. Whenever any new employee onboard, during the onboard, the training session to each and every employees as well as the contractors, they go through intensive training program that tell them how to access the data, how to, if you get an email which is unauthorized, what to do, how to report those kind of activities taken care of with that employee training will take, accept and provide you more data protection. Finally, I want to cover two more slides and then I'll try to, I know that time is getting. So the multi-part agent, this is, I really want to tell about everyone here. This is application security and data privacy risk. Why risk is involved this? This multi-part agent is one of the AI agent. So it gets all the information from you. Already the couple of speakers, they talked about the WhatsApp, how it gets the information. So it gets the information from you, like your password, your the account credential, and then it can run cell commands on your system. It can come to the your local system. It can run the cells command. If you run the cells command, you can handle many variety of distraction to your system. You can read and write the files and execute the scripts on the host. Host is your system. That means your system is compromised. A full system is compromised, you will be losing your data. Also it is
Sorry for the interruption, sir. Sendil, sir.
yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, due to time constraint, we kindly request you to complete this within 5
I
hours.
will talk about the next one and then I'll close it. Yeah, thank you, madam.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So the API keys and tokens and config, those things also can be modified by this multi-party agent. So you should be very careful in accessing this. So the AI leaders warning not to use this small party agent now. Even though there is a millions of users been using it, they are telling not to use this small part. Even Cisco and the other parties, the Palta network, they are telling this has some bugs in it. Please do not use it. It will compromise your system. So that being said, so I would like to skip the one more. The challenges and opportunities in institutional data security. What kind of challenges we have? We talked about AI, right? There's someone before me, they talked about the AI everywhere. The data is being multiply. The data centers have been created to handle this vast amount of data, humongous data. How do we secure? If we are not able to secure the current data, how we are going to anticipate, how we are going to encounter the data which is AI is going to provide. And AI has multiple way of automating this stuff. And when they do automate, again the password, the other information has been flowing through to LLM and memories and the calendar, the Google Calendar, everywhere. Your data is in everywhere. You have to protect. So that's one of the challenges we are facing it. Not only AI, there is a blockchain item is in place too. And then there is a lot of other new items like quantum computing. It's not too far. We'll be getting the quantum computing. We thought it will be another few years, but now we will be getting the quantum computing is the next in the line. So many challenges we are getting it. We have to be ready for it. And with that, I'm try to wrap up this session. And I would like to thank you, the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University organizers and entire team. I appreciate it. And also Dr. Deebalakshmi Madam, and she's been uh, providing all the questions being answered in the last 1 week. And I appreciate her help and coordination on this effort. Thank you, ma'am. And good luck, all of you, the participants. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Valuable insights. Your session made the importance of data protection clear and reliable for our students. We truly appreciate your presence and contribution to today's discussion. Our next panelist is Dr. Sasilina Kamarudin, ma'am. Ma'am is a senior lecturer at Faculty of Management in Economics, University of Pendidikan Sultan Idris, Malaysia. She holds a Bachelor's of Law and Commerce Honors, Masters of Law, and PhD in Law, and teaches subjects such as business law and company law. Her work focuses on data privacy and technology law. Today, ma'am will be speaking on the importance of data privacy rules and their relevance for students in the digital age.
Before that, thank you, Sendil Kumar sir. I think it's quite 12:45 for you. Thank you very much for your patience, and we truly enjoyed your presentation, sir. Thanks a lot, sir,
No
for
problem.
joining
Thank you,
us.
madam.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I went on board.
Would like
Sorry
to
about
see
that.
you offline very soon, sir,
No
to
problem.
our
Thank you.
university.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. Stage is yours, Amrudin madam, please.
My dear students, see the subject, the experts, they are going to discuss and deliberate, which are very, very important to you all. And our course is BCA LLB, honors degree course. And in future, the world badly requires a lot of data security lawyers. So we think that you are the most suitable. You are going to get number of opportunities. So I request each and everyone, should be so attentive, and you are also free to interact with the experts. Okay, thank you.
So much. So much, everyone. Assalamualaikum. A very good afternoon here. Right. Okay, my name is Dr. Saslina. I'm from Malaysia, Sultan Idris Education University. So, a research fellow at Tashkent State University of Law. Right. Okay. The topic today that we are going to talk, I understand most of my audience are Gen Z people. So when we talk about Gen Z people, your span of attention is a little bit very low, right? Anyone here are not using social media? Are you guys a social media user? Yes or no? I can't hear you. Oh, I thought you guys are saying that no, we don't like social media and so on and so forth. So Gen Z people are 90% social media users. They are the scrolling type of people. Do you have mental anxiety because of social media? Do you have mental anxiety because of social media, guys? Yes, sometimes, but we have to keep up with the current news. Those we are there in social media. All right, today my presentation will be from code to compliance. When Dr. Deepa Lakshmi first invited me, she says, oh, we are from the Department of Computer Application. My first thought is that, oh, I'm talking to engineers, perhaps the software engineers. When I came here just now, when Madam Deepa students took me at the hotels, then only I get to understand that this is actually a combination of law and also a technology kind of embedded as a dual degree program. So congrats guys, I'm very amazed with your degree certification. You guys are going to shape the technology law field soon, right? Okay. Okay, let's go to the slides. Like I said, currently we are witnessing a historic shifts in the legal technology or tech law, what we are talking. Those days, when the GDPR arrived in 2008, we are talking about notice and consent. That's why allowed all cookies, selected cookies, and so on. But now what we are talking about? We are talking about the accountability and algorithms. This is a totally a new shift of trends that is happening in the legal industries or even in the tech industries. Right now, we are looking towards accountability and architecture of the technology itself. So this is what you are preparing yourself about, to question the technology, right? What are the architecture of the technology, the privacy by designs, those things, right? Right. So that is the reality. I think until 2025, I've seen only Europe are talking about, okay, we sanction this company for breaching of data privacies and violations. But now I heard a Supreme Court judgment in India is doing that. Or even in Malaysia, we recently sanctioned Crop AI, you know, the service provider for not respecting privacies and personal data. I think before 2025, when we talk about personal data and protections as well as privacy, it's just a toothless tiger, I would say. But now we are seeing the enforcement of these rules, right? We are seeing that those software providers, all the tax companies are getting fines, right? They are facing sanction because of not complying with the law, right? Okay, next. Okay, what, no, previous. Okay, let's look into the cost of compliance, right? What are the failure? Every cost, see that, how much is that? Well, you can see the cost of compliance here is about 220 million. Means that is the sanction imposed on the tech companies. How about in Malaysia? The average, we know that Malaysia is just a 30 million population, right? So the cost of compliance failure in Malaysia is 12.5 million. This is the statistic that we have got in 2025. At the global benchmark, they have got about 4.8 millions compliance costs that is happening around the globe. Means every day somebody is getting fines because of not complying with the technology law, right? So like I said, breach involving ungoverned AI added 670,000 USD to the average cost in the 2025, right? So Malaysia data breaches has actually increases or surge up to 30% in Q1 itself 2025. We have seen every day in reported news that data leakage. Sadly, this data leakage comes from the government, whereby they are excluded from the PDPA itself. So who to question then, right? Okay. Let's look. I'm quite amazed to see that Indian law, they have got, apart from PDPA, they have got this digital personal data protection, right? So this is actually huge achievement for the Indian legal framework, like I said, because of the DPDP, right? DPDP Act is uniquely Indian. It moved away from GDPR complexity towards a linear model, means they are embedded truly Bharat, right? So I understand that whenever we wanted to enact law those days, we will look towards Europe's, UK and US approach, but Indian is having their own set of culture and model embedded. So DPDP is one of the model of those act apart from criminal code and criminal law review, right? Okay. As we can see that if we look into the old act under section 43A of the IT Act, we look for negligence, but under the new act, we under section 8 of DPDP Act in India, we look into the failure to protect. Means the burden of proof has shifted from significantly toward the fiduciary duty imposed on the technology service provider. Malaysia is just this year only we are imposing this duties. Right? I understand this DPDP Act come into force in 2023, but the enforcement action, we can see that it is only, they are giving a kind of cooling off period to technology company to embed it into your system and please enforce by 2027, right? Okay. About in Malaysia, like I said, in 2000, Malaysia has got our PDPA way back in 2010. We are among the earliest country to have our PDPA, right? Personal data protection. But like I said, it is a toothless tiger. Nobody talks about data privacy, data protection until social media, this AI come into force. When AI come into force in 2020, we were so amazed about the capabilities of AI. Now we are so scared. What happened in between? There's a lot of tremendous thing happens in between because like I said, deepfake image are surging, hate speech are increasing, defamatory remarks are increasing. There's a lot of things AI can actually create troubles for all of us. That's the reason why I would say 2025 and 2026 are the era whereby enforcements are coming, right? Whereby the government is coming towards you who are not in comply with these two sets of law, privacy and also data protection as well as PDPA. Right, in Malaysia, we have PDPA, like I said. So in Malaysia, we are Europe-centric. I would say we are still Europe-centric. We focus on EU and we make our law align with GDPR, right? Right. So basically, Malaysia has spent the last entire year to be aligning itself with the GDPR. We have totally reformed our rules on data privacy and data protection, right? So we have set up our commissioners of data protections commissioners in Malaysia. So those bodies are entrusted to actually have an outreach program to actually spread awareness on data protections, as well as this year enforcement action is coming, right? So as of this year as well, like I said, biometrics data has been categorized as sensitive data. What is your biometrics data? Those your face ID, your passwords, right? So those are categorized as sensitive data. So what are the sensitive data, right? So this sensitive data can no longer be used inappropriately. So we have got data minimization rules and so on. And of course, we have in Malaysia, the new development suggests that we have got data portability. There is a new rights for users to actually request data transfer between providers in structured formats. So this basically applies for the private sectors. Right. What are the liability imposed on the data processes in Malaysia? So this is actually a critical changes for commercial lawyers because if let's say, as we can see previously, if a cloud provider fail and then the user can sue the bank have to chase the provider, means the cloud service provider through a contract law. But now, Section 9 of PDPA Act in Malaysia, they have imposed a new direct statutory liability in which we can see that the cases are coming. They are suing the cloud service provider. They are no longer relying on the old contract law to bring the service provider to the court, right? All right, this is actually the penalty comparison as we can see in Malaysia and India. Like I said, India is focused more on monetary. In Malaysia, we are focusing on criminal sanction as well. As we can see, so the maximum financial fine in India is 240 crores. That's a lot to bankrupt, to give a bankruptcy notice to a institution itself, right? But in Malaysia, the penalty is very, very low. Maximum is 1 million, right? And then the criminal sanction in India, there is only a civil impositions, but in Malaysia, the directors can be imprisoned as well as personal liability is involved, right? And then we have notification failure. Everyone is aligned with the GDPR rules, which talks about the 72 hours rules, right? Meanwhile, children data, now this is another concern. Most of the service provider like Meta, X, TikTok, Grok are actually in the deep or spotlights, I would say, because they are handling sensitive data. So children data are now categorized as sensitive data, right? So they have to actually have a lot of implementation in place to ensure that children data are not abused, right? All right, let's look into the case study. The recent case study whereby one of the bank in Malaysia, this is actually a SME bank in Malaysia. So what they have done, they have actually, this is actually a landmark cases whereby 560,000 fine were imposed towards the penalty. Penalty was imposed because they have failed to actually align data governance with AML reporting triggers. So usually, why do we collect data? We know there's a lot of law for you that requires you to comply, especially when you said, oh, I think the earlier speech given by one of our guest speakers says that why should I give my data when I just wanted to buy a gold? Because there is a law requires you to do STR, right? Suspicious transaction reporting. So those data, how do you use the data? How do you manage the data? So that is actually a triggers for this SME bank. So this is basically, we are talking that regulators no longer wanted to say, yeah, I implemented that. Where is the evidence? They wanted to audit those evidences. Are you implementing the right measures, preventive measures at your institution to actually adhere with the law, right? So basically, the enforcement trends are now focusing on the structural governance rather than just incident response. So nowadays, Malaysia, I think as of last year, we have actually mandated for the DPO appointment, right? Data protection appointment in the entities. We have got a threshold for the entities, right? So in India, as you can see, the dark patterns, the Department of Data Protection has began to target the e-commerce platform using deceptive UI, user interface to trick users into the consent. So pre-checkbox are now a top tier violations of the law, right? And also we have got this hiding privacy terms. Remember, when you open a new website, it says that accept all cookies. Do you think we have times to read all of those things? Definitely no. We wanted to use your service as fast as we can. Thus, we just click agree to all, right? So this is where they are coming into action. They are sanctioning you for not making whatever the consents notice clearly to the users, right? And also, when we talk about, like I said, at the first, I was thinking that I'm talking to engineers. That's why I have this slide. Next slide. Next slide. What I'm talking about, because I thought I'm talking to engineers. This is a kind of ISO certifications that has to be done by all these technological service provider, whereby they have got encryption strategies, whereby AES 256 is the standard for data at rest and mandatory framework for data in transit. So all the software providers, they have to ensure that they are in compliance with these technical safeguards, right? But like I said, Facebook was implemented or was introduced way back in 2004. Most of you are not even born yet. So up until now, just imagine the huge number of data that they have retained all about us, right? Do we go and check and audit whether they have implemented all of this or not? Nobody. But yet, sanction and enforcement action are coming. From, like I said, from this year onwards, most of the data protection and personal data commissioners are very, very serious about privacy violations, right? And of course, we have anomaly detection. Automated monitoring is now considered the minimum standard for reasonable security. And we have this use of virtual tokens for personal identifiable informations, like your credit cards, details, and so on, right? So this is actually to reduce your liability. Thanks. Right, so this is what I mentioned earlier about the sensitive data, right? About the sensitive asset. So what is the sensitive asset? The strict handling of data in Malaysia. As of April last year, so what happens is that, like I said earlier, sensitive data is now, your biometrics data has been categorized as sensitive data. So what it has got to do means when it is sensitive data, the threshold is increased for the data service provider. Means they requires a hardware levels of security. Means they need to be operated in trusted, secure environment, and they mandate a specific DPIA, means data protection risk assessment, right? For all facial and fingerprint system, and mismanagement is top tier penalty offenses. So this is the trends, like I said, during COVID, wherever we go, during pandemic, wherever we go, we have got this facial recognition, right? So those are actually backfiring back on this technology service provider. How do they manage the data? And nobody talks about the rights to be forgotten, right? Under GDPR. We know we can give them data. How could we ask the system, please forget about my data? Please delete my data from your database. none of them was actually integrated into our law. Even though it's there, it's never loudly speak about, right? Right? Okay, this is in India. Similarly, in Malaysia, we have these rules. We are talking about Rule 7, whereby there should be a variable consent. Fiduciaries must implement identity verification tokens linked to parent guardians or user ID. I believe that in Google, we have got this family link, right? So those one of the effective tools to actually manage the activities of the children, especially when they are using social media. So that is how we can actually verify what are the activities apart from parental control. We can also manage the verifiable consent or whatever apps downloaded by the children. And then we have also got the service providers whenever a platform doesn't allow children. How do you ensure the children are not using your service? You need to have your technology, right? How do you do that with the technology? Of course, like I said, you need to verify. Most of the service provider nowadays are requiring your either Aadhaar card or even your national identity registration card just to verify your age. So that should be done because that will ensure or prohibits children from using their social media or even their services, right? And of course, apart from that, we have got facial recognition to estimate the age of the children, right? So those should be embedded within the system to ensure the children are safe from this dark web or whatsoever, right? Next. Right, shadow AI, what is it? What is shadow AI? Have you ever heard, I think earlier when ChatGPT were introduced, we understand that one of the Samsung employees, they have uploaded the source code into the ChatGPT and it has went viral, right? So shadow AI is basically a new legal liability. Why? How are you in your company? Is let's say there is some private or even confidential information is being given to you. Can you as an employee upload those information into the LLM models? That will actually trigger a shadow AI liability. So how do you ensure that you have the right policies and procedures in place to ensure that this liability are met or you are avoiding this liability? Like I said, as a law student, what you have to do, you have to understand what is shadow AI first and foremost. So like I said, this is coming into it's not coming into, it's already there. We have seen in Singapore, the lawyer has been reprimanded, been suspended from practicing because they use Gen AI, LLM models to actually generate submissions to the court and so on. Right? We have seen in US, now Hong Kong, right? Lecturers are being fined and for using, for producing a fake citations and so on. So this is a shadow AI coming into force, giving you a new legal liability whereby you can be sued. You might have a liability later if you uploaded any sensitive information or any information that are prohibited into the LLMs because these LLM models have memories. When they remembered and then they reproduce again, that will trigger you a liability, right? All right. And also we are moving towards a negative list in India whereby if the country is not in the banned list, I'm pretty sure like India and China is never a good friend. So perhaps if your country is in negative list, we cannot do any transaction, we cannot transport our data to your country, right? That is what we have in India. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, what adequate protection? We will see whether the law in the country has actually implemented adequate protection or not. So what we do is that we will study the standard contractual clauses. We will see the law in the country, whether they have implemented the adequate protection as in accordance to GDPR, which serve as the international law, right? And like I said, usually what will happen for the companies? So what will happen is that it will create conflicts for the multinational companies. What will happen? Usually. So let's say I'm operating in US and I have I have a transaction in China. So what will happen? It can be legal in India, but it can be a violation in China, right? So that will create a conflict for MNC companies. So they have to found actually a common ground. So usually common ground will be the international law, right? Next. And of course, in Malaysia, we have actually introduced, this is the recent law that we have passed. We requires all the technology service provider, right? Especially if you have got more than 10,000 users, you have to register your service with our ministry. And you have to pay a minimum fees to the government, right? And on top of that, the DPO, the data protection officers, must come from your local person. You cannot have a regional kind of DPO. No, it should be local. It should be based in Malaysia and it should attach to your company, right? And finally, like I said, we have got that new guidelines that favors resident status of the DPO. And finally, we are talking also as well as audit and accountability. Of course, like I said, significant data fiduciaries must submit independent report to the Data Protection Board annually. And of course, we have this periodic risk assessment. This is what I mentioned, we have taken from GDPR. In Malaysia, the security principles that it requires you no longer, compliance is no longer a checkbox approach, but evidence-based approach, right? That's why we have got a lot of on-site visit by the Data Protections Commissioners itself. And of course, like I said, for any systems of AI, we categorize you based on your risk. If you are having a high risk, that means the threshold should be taken and the preventive actions that should be taken by the service provider is more than that. So the mantra for 2026, as I mentioned in my slide, compliance is no longer trust me, but show me the audit log, right? Which is very hard for everyone, right? Final closing, like I said, as we can see in the 2026 regulatory era, code is a law. If your architecture is silence, your liability is loud. Bit privacy for today to survive the audit of tomorrow. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your informative session. Now I would request Dr. Deepalakshmi, ma'am, to hand over the certificate of appreciation to Kamruddin, ma'am. Our next speaker for today's symposium is Mr. Rakesh Sir. Mr. Rakesh Sir is an information security specialist at CDAC, Ministry of Information and Technology. In his role, he focuses on protecting critical digital infrastructure and ensuring secure practices within government technology systems. With expertise in cybersecurity, risk management, and emerging digital threats, he brings valuable technical and policy insights. Today, Sir will be discussing about the topic, data privacy in the age of cyber surveillance.
Thank you, everybody. It's been so wonderful to speak here again. So data privacy in the age of surveillance. So a lot of, we had and discussions on a lot of aspects of privacy. And I hardly had, Madam had a question Q&A session and I hardly had any questions coming up. So I'm not so as prepared as the dignitaries here. So I would like to make this little interactive as much as possible. Let me turn the table to you as a different approach. Let me put a question, simple question. What is data privacy? Let me put a simple survey here. How many of you seriously understand data privacy is? Let's have our hands raised. No hands? No. Some hands, yeah, they understand. how many of us here seriously understand what data privacy is? Oh, wonderful. And I hardly see any hands up. Let's have our hands raised. Let's see the participation here. So how many of us are seriously concerned about data privacy? At least I should see some hands up. Come on. Very few. Very few. Great. Some hands up from none. Yeah, I see here. So data privacy has been a subjective topic. What is privacy in EU, European Union, has a different meaning in the Americans, different meaning in Asia, different meaning in India. And it has been a subject of debate quite recently, right? So the technology evolution happened for ages now. It's been 2.5 decades since we had the IT law, IT Act 2000, then we had an amendment 2008. Then we had few rules in between. And then 2017, we had this famous case, Puttaswamy versus Union Government of India. And we have an act today, and we are still debating and we are talking about it. And it has been so subjective, right? And it also becomes so circumstantial. And how many of us seriously are, dignitaries talked about the blind consent which we give. I just blindly click on submit and move on, scroll and use the phones. How many of you are using a smartphone? All of us. For this question, I didn't raise my hand. And not actually, for a while, this is the phone I use for some reason for a while, for convenience. Now, this is a digital break I take myself once in a while to see how much possible it is for me to accustom to the digital ecosystem. Something I understood, it is very difficult for the people around me to communicate with me when I'm away from this, which means, accept it or not, it is very hard to evade from the digital ecosystem today. Now the question is, we are preparing for a day and tomorrow in the age of digital ecosystem. In one of the session last week, I was saying the 3 world is getting singular. The biological world which we live in, our fellow living beings live in, the ecosystem, the planet which we live in, and the digital mapping of all 3 is coming to a point. Now, it is very important for us to put a question, mindful question of being a situational awareness. So we have to apply this self-aware practices what we do today in the digital world which we've been being part of. Like madam had a tough time, sir, can you send you a geolocation? And I was like, how do I solve this? Somehow it worked today. And my family used to have a very serious problem with me. Why don't you simply install all these apps? I'm just trying to push my own limits. How can I survive in this digital world without being part of it? And my area of expertise and the area I've been learning and being a student is in the cybersecurity area. So first, it's very important I know what data privacy means and what it means to an individual. What is data privacy to me may not be a private aspect to anyone. But we need to generalize. Only when we generalize, government can moderate, government can regulate, and government can seriously bring some meaningful practice in our civil society. By this, the question of civil liberty versus security comes. I'll try to put some thought into that. I have a lot of questions and giving a deliberation here, which I would like to see what you have. I'll put a very simple analog here. So நம்ம வீட்டுக்கு யாராவது கெஸ்ட் வந்தாங்கன்னா when we have a guest in our house, depending upon who the guest is, so we might get when our grandparents visit, we get excited to see them. When our friends visit, we get so excited to welcome them. And some of them may stay in our house for a while. Some of them have a very quick, short visit. Depending upon who the individual or the people who visit us, they may have access to different plays in our house. So if they stay, yeah, please come and please use this to our working area hall, to our kitchen, to our bedrooms, and even the bathrooms. It's basically we are welcoming them, right? What if someone who is a delivery man, right? Someone who has here to deliver our LPG cylinder. We allow them to the kitchen, not anywhere else. What if it's an electrician? So they may come to the work which they are supposed to do. So if they take a different track, no, this is the place you need to work. So we have a thoughtful way of behaving when it comes to our day-to-day. But today in digital ecosystem, we have a device following everywhere. Be it in your private space, be it in your living room, be it in your reading time, personal time. So it follows everywhere. So why is we don't have a mindful boundary like we have for the visitors, but not to these devices what we carry? Which means we have eroded the digital boundary in the physical space, which is very limited, we live in. Years before, we had one television. All of us used to watch, hooked to the one television. Today, we have one television in the living room, one television in the bedroom. Then we have an iPad. My kid could be watching that. I would be watching something different. So this physical cognitive survival is transitioning to an imaginary where we don't have a boundary. Right? There is a huge paradigm shift, even subconsciously, which we are not really aware of. And in physical world, it's very plain. That brings a simple question of civil liberty and security, for which we try to bring in surveillance and monitoring. Right? So surveillance and monitoring has a very thin line. In a physical space, we cannot differentiate monitoring and surveillance. Let's say we have a camera. Yeah, we have one right in front. Right? Let me put a simple question. How many of us are seriously aware this camera is live telecasting the proceedings here to the internet? How many of you know that? Very few, right? So we talk about concern, notice. So we have, for the benefit of the digital audience, we are putting this capturing and we are just telecasting it live, right? So it's a convenience, but many of us really don't know this behavior could alter when I know this has been live telecasted when it is not live telecasted. So in a digital space, we don't have a filter. So which means when we have camera, thank you. When you have a camera, so there is no filter. I'm sorry, in the physical space. When it is in the digital space, we have an advantage. We have an advantage to screen what I need to capture, what I don't have to capture. That is where a fundamental thing comes of personal identifiable information. We are in a very peculiar decade where 2-3 years back, we had some amazing tool based on artificial intelligence. We used to use search engines for, we put our queries, we get our answers. Now we ask a question, we look for a solution. This is age, transitioning age, and we have to be very mindful about how we use these technology for day-in-day use. While this happens in the area of digital space, I have an identity and I have bunch of activities. I'll take a simple example. How many of you use your mobile phone to have your morning alarms? See, I see a huge number of hands being raised. Earlier days, it was a cock-a-doodle-doo, then we had this one-ring kind of alarm which used to wake up not just me, my neighbors as well. Right? Today we have, which means a single mobile phone. A lot of things have been spoken about here. I'll just keep it brief. Knows when I wake up, what I watch, what I buy, the queries I put in. Everything is on this simple device which I said is moving everywhere. When I go brush my teeth, I'm on my mobile. When I'm on this, why did you ever think we had larger soaps, then we had YouTubes, then we have shorts? Why are just for 10 seconds? Is it because our attention span on screen has minimized to 7 seconds on an average? So there is a buffer time which is getting monetized, and it has for good and bad. I'll talk about the good and the bad. So we need to understand how. How many of you are using YouTube, the free version? YouTube, the free version, I'm sure it should be 100%. I'm sure YouTube, the free. How many of you are using accounts like Netflix and Prime for watching movies? It's a paid version. What is a huge difference between a free version of a platform and a paid version of a platform? Even YouTube have a paid version of it, right? So for the paid version, we don't have advertisements. For the free version, we have advertisements. Previously, the TV used to have an advertisement being played and everybody has to watch that. Today, in the same building I'm living in, my daughter would get a different advertisement, I would get a different advertisement, someone else watching in the same space, right? This is a convenience it brings. When I'm buying something, I tell them this is what I'm looking for. Give me a suggestion for the gift I would like to give to my friend whose birthday is coming up. I might get some good suggestions. So technology is becoming so useful to us as well. So in one place it could be, so in another place, and that is why I'm saying this is a paradigm shift. What will I say yes to and what will I say no to? And that could influence our behavior. If I'm saying yes to everything, I may blindly say yes to everything. That's what ma'am was telling, the consent which we give. If I'm going to say no to everything, blindly I could say no to everything. That could also become a barrier for me when I seriously need it. Same as with, there is around million metrics which is getting captured in our digital space to give a unique identity to our digital behavior, like what we watch, what we see, what we even think. So in one place, it's very advantageous to us. Give a query, it gives an answer to me, right? So as I was speaking about the monitoring and surveillance, it is very easy for me to bridge the line in digital space, whereas in physical space, it was a challenge. But where is the problem? The problem is we have to draw the line between the identity which we put, the personal identifiable information which we call it, attached to the behavior we put on the device. So that is where the privacy enabled technology, privacy enabled design ma'am was mentioning. And this is a phase where this country is going to see a sea wave of development in terms of privacy enabled technology. As a common user, 99% of the population is going to be blind on this. But you being a techno law student can become the torch bearer to question this. Only you can do it. Otherwise, we need to have this. When I question something, in Tamil we say, Sattam pesra. But you have fundamental qualification as a student, as a citizen, to evaluate these technological solutions. Put a simple question. Is it seriously helping my fellow citizens and fellow global citizens? Is it seriously impacting my land, my ethos? Is it seriously helping business as well as individuals? So you students can seriously think about on these aspects. So when I detach my identity from the behavior, technology is good. So I can do a mass surveillance, because in today's age, every government does that. And it is very important when government does a surveillance, it has to uphold the proposition as well as the constitutional values. It cannot be selective. It cannot be prerogative, right? So we need to ensure such monitoring detaches the identity. Monitoring qualifies to be a surveillance only when there is a deviation from a normal behavior, right? So in digital world, it is very, very easy. Why is someone downloading heavy amount of data all of a sudden, which is happening? My internet bill comes so long. I remember one of my fellow colleagues, senior madam, just brought her laptop and said my internet bill was 1.3 lakhs. And her monthly salary was around 70,000 then. How was it even possible? So gentlemen, her own son and her friend, what they did was they had this torrent installed. They gave 150 movies to be downloaded, and they downloaded the movies over the night, and there was no cap. And today there are metered thing. In this way, yeah. So this gives an ultimate tool to understand the technology, how we can bring the monitoring aspects detached from the surveillance to that. As a user, as individuals, you need to be very cognitive about how this is going to help the fellow citizens. So, like I said, this is going to be an evolving area for serious research. How do we detach? We call it de-anonymization and de-identification and the privacy technologies. What are the solutions we can bring legally as a tool and technically as a tool? So we need a huge help from techno-legal people like you. That's why we would welcome you here. That's why I said I have a lot of questions and here. I cannot conclude those. Rather, I would like to put, we are in a phase where we need to have this privacy awareness. That's why I was asking how many of us are really aware of what is the data which is getting collected, how it is used, how it is processed, when I can put them to halt. And how many technologies seriously follow this? Imam was asking, can we make them accountable? Can we audit them? So we need to have this mentality of questioning them when we use this technology. Let us spread the message of awareness to our fellow friends and families and citizens to make them aware how can we embrace the technology for our livelihood empowerment. Here I submit my discourse. Any questions I'll be free to take. And thank you for such an opportunity to speak in another occasion. All the best.
Thank you, Mr. Rakesh sir, for your insightful session. Your discussion helped us to understand the real-world challenges of protecting personal data in today's digitally monitored environment. I would request Dr. Sunil Gladson sir to hand over the certificate of appreciation to Mr. Rakesh sir. We now move to our next panelist, Dr. Keshavamurthy sir. He is a professor of law and assistant dean at VIT School of Law, specializing in corporate and business law with a strong academic and research background, Sir actively engages with contemporary legal issues to governance, regulation, and fundamental rights. Today, Sir will be speaking on privacy, proportionality, and power in evolving jurisprudence of personal data protection.
Good afternoon, everyone. I've been, I'm very humbled for the invitation that has been given to me. As everybody has introduced me as an alumni of this prestigious institution. I was doing my PG in the year 2009, almost 17 years back. I was there in your place. I know the hardship that you are undergoing right now because it's been 3 hours. Continuously, people are talking to you in different angles, different aspects of privacy, liberty, especially, right? I'll be wondering, when I was doing my PG, my professors used to chase us actually to have a class because we'll be in a cafeteria, we'll be in some other place. Our professors are kind enough to come to the cafeteria and teach something to us. That was the situation earlier when I was doing my PG. And we are very much, pleasured in the presence of my own professors who are all sitting here. And it gives me honor to speak before you, on this occasion. Thank you for the invitation, madam, actually. Yeah. நான் இப்படியே பேசிக்கிட்டே இருந்தேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், ஆல்ரெடி டைம் ஆயிடுச்சு, எல்லாம் வாட்சை பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க, ரைட்? Okay. I'll be very little short, but the topic which I have taken, the theme which I have taken, I know it is very heavy to you all people. After this is actually, we are working on a paper right now. It's a working paper. So more than the answers, I have more questions to be, asked to ourselves. So that is how this theme has been set. Now, if you see why this topic matters to us, many they have spoke about this, the same thing. Why it matters to us? Because you see, now whatever we do, say suppose I'm standing here right now, lakhs and lakhs of people could watch me right now. Right now. Suppose you are carrying your mobile phone to the restroom and you're watching some reels. If I tell you, I can see you without your knowledge, will that be a matter to you? If you are in a bedroom, to be more pragmatic, I can watch you without your knowledge. Is that matter to you? Of course, yes. That is why this theme today, this topic today, and these many people are talking. It is not for someone else, it is for us, that we have to really think what we are undergoing right now. So it's a wake-up call, it's a warning and a caution of how to use it. Now we all must have seen the fruits in the trees, right? We all have seen the fruits in the trees? Yes. Do you know how it has come? It took long years to come. What we have taken care of to have a fruit? It's not the branches. We should look down and see the roots of it, right? So this particular topic will, will lead you to the root of what we are discussing right now. What we were and what we are discussing right now, what is going to be the future of it. So this is how it is all happening. So there are two things. One is about everyday surveillance, as I told you earlier. We are all under the surveillance. So you check one thing today. Okay? When you go home or when you are with your friends, you check one thing. You just talk about AI to your friend. Just talk. when your mobile phone is with you, you will see a lot of advertisements, lot of suggestions, lot of gadgets which is related to the AI will pop up in your mobile phone. Earlier, the search that we input intentionally was taken by the devices. But now, without your consent, without your permission, you are heard, you are listened by the devices. Just check this so that you will see that, yeah, I am always under the surveillance. Second thing, it is not about us actually, we are the subject of a state. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am in the topic, sir. Yes. So now you see there are three stakeholders needs to be taken care of here. The first one is the individual's autonomy, and the second one state interest, and third one corporate dominance. So these three things are intersecting with each other. So we have to devise a policy, we have to devise a guidelines for all these three. That is why this matters now. If not now, it is not going to be forever, right? The core question lies here is who controls personal data and on what terms? Say suppose if you are sharing the data in the internet, it is based on certain terms and conditions we are sharing. And what are those terms and conditions? Will it be affecting you or affecting the state or affecting the private control, whoever is holding it? So it is intersection of those three. That is why the problem is very high now, right? The conceptual framework, the pillar of the discussion is on privacy. Privacy that many of us know and it has been discussed much here. So I will go into the second aspect of it, that is proportionality. Now for the proportionality, we've been seeing this proportionality jurisprudence is evolving from 1954 with the MP Sharma's case. In that case, it was told there is no explicit protection on the right of privacy. That is what that was the decision earlier. And later, in the year 1963, this was slightly changing with the judgment of the Karak Singh in the year 1963. In the Karak Singh's decision, if you see, it is no protection, no rights to, they were changing into the fragmented recognition, meaning it is not fully recognized. Certain aspects of privacy has been recognized. And if you see in the year 2017, it is very evident it has been brought into the ambit of Article 21. That is your fundamental right. This is how the jurisprudence of privacy is evolving so far. And if you talk about the proportionality, so in the data context, there are so many questions that is arising. It is not even attempted to answer so far. So these are all going to be your research topic if you wanted to do some research, further study on that. So please, you can note it down. So apply to data protection, what are the proportionality that can be served? Is the data collection excessive? This is a question that comes. Whenever you log into an app, it is taking all the permissions from you. Without the permissions, you cannot log into your apps or the websites or something. Meaning, is it excessive? Is it not limited to it? Meaning there is no proportionality to the data that you are sharing it with the websites and the apps and what you wanted to protect. There is no proportionality. And it raises a lot of serious questions. Are safeguards are adequate? Are the consent is meaningful, as Sar was touching upon? When we are giving the consent, is the consent is adequate? The terms are known to you or not? Because there's a multi, 100 pages of terms and conditions. Are we reading it? It is just formality that we accept and go into the services. The proportionality as a constitutional test. This test, especially, you can find it in the Puttaswamy's case. So I don't want to go in furtherance of it. I'll give you two examples where the test will be passed and test will be failed. So you all know that in some point of time, the Aadhaar card is linked with the mobile phone. Is it necessary? What do you feel? My Aadhaar card is linked with a mobile phone. My ID is linked with a mobile phone. Is it necessary? This question was raised. And the court said, yes, it is necessary. On what basis it has been said necessary is based on these four tests. Any data that you are sharing should qualify for these 4 tests that needs to be done. The 4 test gives you a positive result, then the data that you have shared is proportional. If not, it is not proportional. I'll give you a second example. When they were asking our Aadhaar card to be given with the welfare schemes, attached to the welfare schemes. Like say, suppose if you are going to get some 3,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees as a subsidy or under a welfare scheme by the government has mandated the Aadhaar. Whether that is necessary, then the court said, no, it is not necessary. Because the data that you are collecting through the Aadhaar card should not be used for the welfare scheme. So now you see, these are the 2 examples, classic examples, where the test has been passed in one, the test has been failed in another one. The judiciary has to go with those tests. So this is, so that is why this test is very important. And you know, all know that the rise of data state and the surveillance, which is very high now, which is very high. Like you cannot imagine, you know, how much high it is. Now you see, if there are 1,000 people are watching you right now, how would you feel actually? Physically, if they are watching you, how do you feel? It is something which is we feel insecure. We feel like there's a chill effect for that. So are we secured? Now you see that if I am watching you through Meta, if I am watching through somewhere you cannot imagine where I could watch. So how do you feel now? So physically you can feel my presence, but if it electronically you cannot feel my presence at all. But are we safe? So that raises a question of functional creep and also the chilling effect that has been given on the freedom that we enjoy. The role of private powers actually. So now we'll come to the power aspect, where the private sectors are becoming more powerful with your data. Now you see that the sovereignty of a state is questioned when the private players are becoming more powerful. So now, so that is why if it comes to corporate as a data empires, the platform shapes your behavior. You know the TikTok? Earlier we used to have. What are the content that has been shared in TikTok? Is not shared in Facebook, which is not shared in LinkedIn, which is not shared in your WhatsApp status. See here, every app has been designed in such a way that it reflects your behavior, meaning they were dictating how you should behave. Meaning what? You are under the guidance, you are under the control of the private sectors which is running the apps. So whatever the app that you are under, you are using it, the way that you use it is going to be decided by the people who are all delivering that service to you. Meaning you are in their control. That is how it works. The consent as a legal fiction. See here, it's a legal fiction, is it not? See, just you click on something, you consented to all the terms, meaning the law has a fixation in it. It is fixing that you have given the consent. It is kind of a quasi consent that we are giving. That is again a gray area which the people are discussing about it. Right? And the data asymmetry between user and the company. See here, one fellow who posted a photograph of having one of the famous soft drink a bottle in his hand at the peak of the Everest. Now this platform has shared this data with that particular soft drink company for their advertisement. Meaning what? The photo is not intended to take and use for commercial purposes. But what you have posted as an achievement is taken as an advertisement by another company. And they were minting millions of money on that. Meaning the data asymmetry, for what purpose it has been taken, is not used for that purpose. So you have to be very careful. Later on, if you are posing with some brand or something, right, you become a celebrity in one day. But the problem is you are not earning by that. It is somebody else. Some company is earning that. So please see this as it is not that beneficial to me. It is beneficial to someone else. So the more the things that you share, the more the power that they will get. So now again, earlier it is between the user and the government. Now it is the horizontal, jurisprudence is developing, where the private companies, whoever has the data, the government who is having data, they both are trying to regulate each other. The private company trying to dictate government, government is trying to regulate the private companies because of the power surge that is happening in the data world. So that is one of the main, things that needs to be taken into consideration. And the jurisprudential shift has happened from the GDPR to the that madam was rightly explaining that we are going against the EU regulations, and we are wanted to have an independent regulation on the data privacy. Yes, I have 5 more minutes, madam. Yeah, right. I have my time set. Right. So then, how the world is dealing with that, we have to see how the world is dealing with that. Now, if you look into the EU, European Union regulations, the GDPR is strictly prohibitional, proportionality in nature, meaning it is very strict. Where you are violating, you will be punished. That is how the EU regulation works. And if you compare with the UK and India, UK has surveillance cases under ECHR. They have a separate department for that, and that department will take care of the privacy issues and the human rights violation that is happening through the data. And the third thing, if you see the US regulations, it is actually sectoral and liberty-based approach. They always talk about freedom. I am liberal, I'm liberty, I'm free to take anything or anywhere it is consented. So now if you compare all these three with India, the Indian regulations approach is to unique blend of dignity plus proportionality. See here, it is wonderfully drafted regulation in consonance with all the Article 21's compliances. If you see that, now the dignity, which is a biggest question that we have, what is the role between the dignity and the data is a question now, and that has blended in our Dpdp Act. So that is one of the unique things that has been done in India. But no wonder this has raised a lot of questions actually. Though we say it is beautifully drafted and the executions and all those things needs to be questioned here. We are not neglecting that also, because that requires a lot of research to be done, because it's very new to us now, the law, right? And the emerging judicial trends that people have spoke already very much. So these are all the questions that I have landed up after doing extensive research on this particular area. And these unresolved questions are very much intriguing. And any person who wants to do a research, who wanted to take this further, they can ask these questions to them. So can consent truly protect autonomy? Is a question. This question lies on, are the consents are true or fiction? That we have to see. Second, who watches the data protection board? Meaning it is not established yet under the Dpdp. Soon, very soon it is going to be established. If that is the case, who watches that board actually? If they breach, what will happen? So these questions are unanswered now. Third, will AI decision making rehabs privacy doctrine? Because we haven't ever touched it. We are always afraid of AI now. We are very skeptic about it. If that comes into full force, what would be the privacy doctrine, and whether it will be resonating that question again and again? Is privacy become negotiable? Are we negotiating with our own privacy? Okay, you can violate this much. That is negotiation. Meaning, my data can be used for this much. That is a negotiation that is taking place, right? And the conclusion and the key takeaways: reimagining the privacy jurisprudence. We are in the position to reimagine all our privacy jurisprudence. That is when I say the data privacy and whatever the proportionality is actually evolving further. It is leading to a different zone now. We are not in the position of, it's not even reached the transition side. We are just started thinking of it, and thinking has a lot of emerging jurisprudences. The future jurisprudence, there are some kind of a suggestion that we can come up with this. The future jurisprudence must tame state surveillance. First of all, the state surveillance needs to be tamed. It is not, since I am a state, I cannot take all the data from you, correct? I am not a subservient of a state. I am a subject of a state, meaning I should have all the rights, right? In that case, the state needs to be having a surveillance. The second aspect of future jurisprudence should evolve on regulate corporate dominance. See, this is very, very unique to the world that we are living in. See here, the corporates have started dominating us one or the other way. Corporates have taken some of the sovereign functions. That is very much evident in the Indigo case, where the Indigo is failed, the sovereign is questioned. Preserve human dignity in a datafied world. And again, though our law says it is all protected, we have $1 million question: is it still protected? Right? And thank you very much for the time that has been given. Exactly, I have completed in 20 minutes. This is the example for that. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking session. It is indeed the need of the heart to tame state surveillance, regulate corporate power, and uphold human dignity. Now, I would request Dr. A. Anita ma'am to hand over the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Kesamurthy, sir. It is my privilege to introduce our final panelist for the day. Dr. Elamali sir is a senior academic specializing in international law and constitutional law and currently serves as the head in charge of the Department of Human Rights and Duties Education. He has authored over 10 books, published around 25 research articles, and presented more than 50 papers at national and international conferences. He is the recipient of several prestigious awards, including the National Awards for Meritorious Service with Disability, conferred by the Honorable President of India in 2020, and the Best Law Teacher Award by the Government of Tamil Nadu in 2012. Today, Sir will be speaking on the topic, the right to data privacy as a fundamental right and overview. Welcome, Sir.
I have a small request to our director BCA course, Dr. Sunil sir, who happens to be my brother, and the Malaysian madam to jointly felicitate the Department of BCA faculties for their excellent. I request Dr. Sunil sir and madam to felicitate the HOD of Computer Science, Dr. Deepa ma'am first, actually, with a shawl and a memento. No, no, madam. Please, madam. It's our honor, in fact. Madam has also joined you, Malaysian. Please. Madam, we request you to honor them. I also request to stay on Deepa and sir and Malaysian madam. Don't get her name, otherwise I'll be happy to tell her name. Three of you join, felicitate three more people, that is Dr. Seema, Dr. Nachyar ji and Dr. Anita ji, the faculty of this particular department.
Ma'am.
Saslina madam, I'm very sorry about it. Saslina madam, please join them, and it will be our honor to do so. And we also thankfully remember all the contribution made by your student coordinators and others. As Sir said, as one of the founding faculty, I think it's my bounden duty. Friends, thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir, for honoring my request. And thank you all other faculties to accept my request to receive the honor. Thank you. Thank you all the students. Friends, I know hunger man and anger man listens nothing. Correct? Yes or no? Your anger or hunger? What sort of hunger? பசிக்குதா? சரி சரி சீக்கிரமா அமுச்சிடலாம். ஆனா நம்ம வள்ளுவர் எல்லாத்துக்கும் ஒரு தொந்தரவு பண்ணுவாரு. இந்த செவிக்கு உணவு இல்லைன்னா வைத்து கொடுக்கலாம்னு சொன்னாரு. அப்போ இங்க இருக்கிறது நல்ல ஆங்கிலத்துல சொல்லுவாங்க lend me your sweet ears and kindly bear me for few more minutes. That okay? பண்ணலாமா? சரி. ஏன் இவ்வளவு டல்லா இருக்கீங்க? தயவு செஞ்சு ப்ளீஸ் பி ஆக்டிவ். பண்ணலாமா வேணாமா? நீங்க வேணாம்னு சொன்னா விட்டுரு, அதெல்லாம் ஒண்ணும் இல்லை. சொல்லலாமா? ரைட். இப்போ ஒரு few things I will be very short. Very, very short. It's very easy to paint a rosy picture, but unfortunately, it is not the truth. Our entire Supreme Court, the 9-judge bench, is divided. Please listen to me. Is divided on the question of making Indian citizen as a barter. Today, we all start with this dance and other things. We are asking you to do so. What law we are violating? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Can you guess? What law we are violating? It is not the DPDP. We are violating the CRC, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Because all the people danced, I think they belong to first year. Probably they are under 18. So the law is observed only through violations. In India, it has become very important to do self-certification. European model is the best model for democracy. ஆனா அதை நம்ம வயலேட் பண்ணிட்டோம். ஸ்ரீகிருஷ்ணா கமிட்டின்னு ஒரு கமிட்டி கொடுத்துருந்தாங்க. அவங்க சொன்னதை நான் உங்களுக்கு கோட் பண்றேன். பிள்ளையார் மாதிரி வரணும்ட்டு நாங்கள் ஒரு ஆக்ட் பண்ணோம். ஆனால் அது குரங்கு மாதிரி வந்தால் நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்னு அவர் கேட்டார். அவர் சொன்னது தான் இது. ஸோ அதனால நம்ம நினைச்சது ஒன்று, நடந்தது ஒன்று. கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு வந்து அன்கொஸ்டினபிள் பவர்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க இந்த டிபிடிபியில். அது ரொம்ப தப்பு. அப்புறம் எவ்ரிபடி ஹஸ் ஸ்போக்கன் அபவுட் சென்சிட்டிவ் பர்சனல் டேட்டா. அதில் சில்ட்ரன் பற்றி சொன்னாங்க, எல்லாருமே சொன்னாங்க. பட் தே forgotten others like sexual minorities, persons with disabilities. There are many more things for them. The heightened data protection is required. Unfortunately, this Data Protection Act doesn't address it. In fact, I have sent my comments to them. Like me, many people would have sent the comments. But government is lending only a deaf ears to do so. And other things, நிறைய விஷயங்கள் நிறைய பேர் பேசினாங்க. I know you are all running out of patience. அதனால I will stop here. ஒன்னே ஒன்று தான். Nothing can stop you. The corporations can even dictate terms to the government, not only to the developing countries, even to the developed countries. Even இன்னைக்கு ட்ரம்ப் பிரசிடென்ட் ஆனார்னா அது யாராலன்னா இலான் மாஸ்கால தான் அவர் ஆனார். அது அவர் நடத்துறது ஒரு பெரிய கம்பெனி. நீங்கள் இப்போ கரண்ட் பட்ஜெட்டை நீங்கள் பார்த்துருக்கலாம். லேட்டஸ்ட்டாக நம்ம வந்து வி ஆர் கிவிங் ரெட் கார்பெட் வெல்கம். ஐயா வாங்க, ஐயா வாங்க, நாங்கள் டேக்ஸ் எக்ஸ்பென்ஷன் கொடுக்குறோம், கார்பரேட் டேக்ஸ் நாங்கள் உங்களுக்கு போட மாட்டோம், எங்களுக்கு தேவை எஃப்டிஐ, நீங்கள் இங்கேயே பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. அப்போது ஆர் வி இன் அ பொசிஷன் டு டிக்டேட் தம்? இல்லவே இல்லை. வாட் ஹாஸ் ஹேப்பன்ட் இன் நேபாள் ஆல் ஆஃப் யூ நோ. அதனால் இந்த கார்பரேட்லாம் நம்ம ரெகுலேட் பண்ண முடியாது. அவங்க தான் நம்மளை ரெகுலேட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க, கவர்மெண்ட்டையே. நம்மலாம் ஒன்றுமே இல்லை அவங்க முன்னால். இந்த வாட்ஸ்அப் பண்ண நீலி கண்டீர் உங்கள் எல்லாரும் சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட் அவ்வளோ பாராட்டினாங்கல்ல. They are not deserving for that. It is very shame. 2017, 18, several high courts have given stay to the WhatsApp policy. அதை ஸ்டேவை வெக்கேட் பண்ணுது சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட். இப்போ அவங்க ஜஸ்ட் ஒன்லி ஸ்பீக்கிங். தே வில் நெவர் ஆக்ட் அகெயின்ஸ்ட் ஆல் தீஸ் எம்என்சிஸ். ப்ளீஸ் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் திஸ். ஆனால் அப்படி ஒரு தைரியமா பேசின ஒருத்தர், ஜட்ஜ்மெண்ட் கொடுத்த ஒருத்தர் சுதர்ஷன் ரெட்டின்ட்டு, அவர் வந்து வைஸ் பிரசிடென்ட் போஸ்ட்டுக்கு கம்பீட் பண்ணார். அவரை நம்ம ஜெயிக்க வச்சோமா? தோக்க தான் வச்சோம். நல்ல லீடர்ஸ் இங்கிருந்து வரணும். நல்ல லீடர்ஸ் உருவானோம்னா நல்ல சிட்டிசன்ஸ் வேணும், நல்ல விஜிலண்டா இருக்கிற சிட்டிசன்ஸ் வேணும். அது இருந்தா எல்லாத்துக்குமே சொல்யூஷன். அப்படி வருமான்ற நிலை தான் நாங்க உங்ககிட்ட கேட்டுட்டு முடிச்சுக்கிறேன். காட் பிளஸ் யூ ஆல். ஜெய் ஹிந்த். தேங்க்யூ. ஒரு சின்ன நான் சொல்றேன். Friends, one more small event actually. Last time the students they organized one conference on human rights. They have done very nice actually. If I felicitate them there, it is amount to self-praising, and that's why we wanted to felicitate. They are to be felicitated by different personalities. I request Dr. Sunil sir, Dr. Deepa ma'am, and Dr. Sashlina ma'am jointly felicitate the student coordinators of that program today. They are Vikashini Sri and Vidya Sri. Please come on to the dais. And for them, we are giving a small memento. I think I should tell you this. This book is on Kiradi. I think all of you should read that. Okay, the book is authored by Soumya Ashok, a very young girl. It is about pride of our Tamil culture. Madam is coming from Malaysia. I am sure the government of Malaysia, government of Singapore, government of Canada, government of Australia, there are many more governments I can keep on telling. They do better than what our government is doing for promoting Tamil. Okay. கனடியன் பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர் வந்து ஜஸ்டின் ட்ரூடோ, அவர் வந்து தமிழ்ல பொங்கல் வாழ்த்து போட்டதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் நம்ம நரேந்திர மோடிக்கு தமிழ்ல போடணும்னு தோணுது. இங்க ஓட்டு வாங்க வரும்போதெல்லாம் தமிழ் பெருசும்பாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் தமிழ்நாடுன்னு பேர் வைக்காதீங்கம்பாங்க. அதனால இந்த ப்ரைடு உங்களுக்கு ரீச் ஆகணுன்றதுக்கு தான் இந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட் அம்பாசிடர்ஸ்க்கு இந்த புத்தகத்தை நம்ம பரிசாலிக்கிறோம். We request them to give it to them as a token of honor. Please, madam. For all.
I would request Ms. Seema ma'am to hand over the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Elmalai sir.
I request the dignitaries to kindly occupy the dais as we are going to distribute the certificate for the faculty coordinators and our student coordinators who have been a great pillar in making this international symposium a grand success. Please, sir, Rakesh sir, Keshavamurthy sir. Dr. M. Sunil Glatton sir, convener of the International Symposium. Dr. R. Deepalakshmi ma'am, convener of the International Symposium. Ms. S. Seema ma'am, coordinator of the International Symposium. Dr. A. Anita Mam, Coordinator of the International Symposium. Mr. Jayadavan, the Technical Coordinator of this International Symposium. Now we move on with the felicitation of our student coordinators. Ms. Radha B.
Thank you, Radhe. Next, I call upon Sabaricius from 4th year BC LLB Honors. Mohammad Zayed from 1st BC LLB Honors. Sriram from 1st BC LLB Honors. Chandru R from 2nd BC LLB Honors. Tuhini Hess from 2nd BC LLB Honors. Kartiga from 2nd BC LLB Honors. Latika Shri from 3rd BC LLB Honors. Kavin Kumaraswamy from 1st BC LLB Honors. Harini Duraisamy from 3rd BC LLB Honors. And Vedashri from 3rd BC LLB Honors. Thank you, students. You all made it the symposium a very grand success. I also thank all the BC LLB Honors participants, students, and we are having many more events to be participated, and we thank for your involvement. Thank you very much.
I now request the students and the members of the audience to kindly